Hi, so welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the exercise, and here's some other people's versions of this result. You can compare. Again, they've all only had about 10, at most 15 minutes to do this, so it's really a quick exercise to get you thinking. So this is the global results. They're from people who've done this in Durham, in Newcastle, and in Beijing, and actually also in Australia. So I've got sets of drawings from all over the world. Here's the first one. Not uncommon to see this, and I like this analogy of a fork in the road because it shows you there's a choice, and that choice is based on something. And although they've kind of used a euro symbol when they shouldn't, it does show that it's a cost per kilo that's driving this choice. And then you've got either to good food, thumbs up, good food, and the fish market. There's no direct symbol for Fifth Street though. That's perhaps the one missing thing here. And you'll see how hard it is to remember everything. This one is from a very senior professor now at a university I won't name, who again drew this fork in the road and what to do depending on the fish price. Either you go to good food or you keep going to Fifth Street. So nice rendering of Fifth Street except for the use of Fifth. And this illustrates quite how hard it can be to represent in icons something you could very easily represent in language, and gives you this trade-off between when should you use language and when should you use pictures. The halibut has been drawn here as a religious symbol and a butt. So making up the word halibut together. So it's more about phonetically pronouncing it than it is about the meaning of the symbols. But it's a good illustration. Here's one that starts to use the weighing scale analogy, and that's great. There's the trade-off there is, which way does the weights go, and if it weighs the price weight ratio is enough, then you go off to Fifth Street. If it's not, you stay at good food where you buy it. I like the map idea, showing 5 streets to Fifth Street. In reality, you probably use a real map, but it's good. This one, a few people do nice 3D visuals. This is one of them, although it doesn't really capture the choice element. I mean, there's a representation of choice and a happy or sad customer, but there's not quite that. Why is that choice being made? How many euros per kilo is it before you make the choice? Here's one, also 3D, not quite as well executed perhaps, but it's got good food. It has a question mark representing the choice, and if the fish is too expensive, you go off to the Fifth Street. Well, it represents the streets. Again, literally has 5 streets. So yeah, good elements in it, I think. This is a student in Beijing, and for the students in Beijing, you can remember that they were all working in effectively a foreign language. They were using English to translate something into a visualization. Having said that, the visual parts of this tend to be very similar. Wherever we've run this, there's a choice, there's fish, there's Fifth Street, and good food. So another one in Beijing. This one's very straightforward flowchart. It might not be quite accurate, but it shows you going off and buying it in certain places based on the price. Otherwise you quit, where I think the original question didn't have a quit option in it. This is from 2012, one of my students at Durham. Again, the weighing scale analogy and the choice element coming in there, not quite explicit enough, but it's there. And what do you do? Well, you go to Fifth Street if it's too expensive. But you kind of have to read that into it. If you knew the question, you'd know how this represented the answer. And I think this is the final one. So this is, again, a very nice drawing. And it shows, by the direction of the person icon, where they're taking their money. So in the first case, the fish weighs a certain amount, and it's less than 10 euros, so they're going to go there. In the second case, it's not, so they're going off to taking their 10 euros off to Fifth Street. So the choice is shown there in a slightly different way by representing where the person is going. So there you go. A quick overview of some of the answers to this problem. I'm sure you've got your own. your choice of visual symbols to represent ideas is not as different as the differences between languages. So when I've run this in English-speaking countries and in Mandarin-speaking countries, people's drawings tend to be quite similar compared to if they'd written it in language. It would be a lot less comprehensible. So there are times when visuals can actually help communicate in ways that written language can't.